Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Happy Friday. It's good to have weekend ahead of us. I hope everyone is really excited, as excited as I am. I'll just give it a couple seconds for whoever is on to join the live stream. Yeah, this was probably not necessarily the best idea. I was at the park chilling, and so I decided to do a live stream over here, but it's gotten pretty dark, so I guess you can pretty much see me, so that's what's important. But yeah, I'll kick this off and we'll see who joins. Guys, today's topic I find super interesting, so I'd love to hear your comments about it. The reason it's kind of come up is the result of basically hey, I see Stefan's just joined. Great to have you on, mate. Yeah, guys, if you're joining the call, feel free to say hello. It'd be great to know who's on, and just to hear a couple comments, what your thoughts are, if you agree, disagree, generally, just anything. It's great to have you guys on. So, I also see Sebastian has joined. So, Seb, how's it going? So guys, here it is. So the reason I want to talk about this tonight is basically this is what I realized. A few months ago, I realized that the reason we get stressed is because actually what happens is we basically get stressed when there is something that we need to do, but we feel like we don't have enough time to get it done. So generally, I feel like, I know that's a very basic way to analyze it, but I felt that was actually a really simple and straightforward way to see it, and it's definitely worked for me to see it that way. So generally speaking, if you're getting stressed, it's because there's something that you plan to do, something you were going to do, whether it's at work, whether it's your personal goals, whether it was a commitment to someone that you made. Basically, there is a commitment you've made to someone, to something, and you're running out of time, and so you're freaking out about it, and that's where that stress comes in, right? Because not enough time, something that you need to do, something you know that will take a certain amount of time, and so basically you're stressing out. So I guess the reason I want to bring today's topic up, so basically this stress topic, is, one way that I felt works really well is when there's a repetitive stress that comes up, something that you have to deal with on a repetitive basis. It comes up over and over again. What's interesting is to say, okay, so if this is happening on a continual basis, if it's a repetitive type of stress, then what could I be doing about it? What could I be proactively doing to solve the issue, right? Instead of just, facing the consequences. And this is what this tip is about tonight. It's looking at what is the cause of the stress versus what is the consequence. So when you're already facing the consequence of the stress, it doesn't really help in any way to just be dealing with the stress, right? You're just dealing with the consequence. You're stressed out. So the question is more, guys, great to have you on. I see Christians join. Feel free to comment. Let me know if this makes sense, if it doesn't, if you agree, if you disagree. It'd be great to have some thoughts on this. So basically the question is, so you're stressing out, right? So you're in this state of stress, and that is the consequence of something happening. And if it's a regular stress, something you're dealing with on a regular basis, then the question is not so much, hey Christian, great to have you on. Yeah, guys, feel free to comment if you're on. So then the question becomes, this effect is happening over and over again, right? The consequence is there. I can feel it because I'm stressed out, right? So the question is not so much, how do I get rid of the consequence? Because that's just you dealing with the results of your previous actions. The question is more, what was the thing that led to it? What created the consequence, right? Hey Hannah, good to have you on. Hannah, my bad, Hannah. Good to have you on. So guys, does this make sense? So looking at it not so much from the consequence perspective, which in my mind it's a little too late at that point, right? Because at that point, it's kind of like, there's not much you can do. You're suffering the consequences of whatever it is. You can't help your emotions, right? But being there before and thinking about what is the general trigger of the stress? What has caused me to feel this way? Hey Mikey, good to have you on. Yo guys, if this makes sense, or if, feel free to comment. I don't know if you guys, if you guys are feeling this or not. It would be great to have a few comments. Great to have you all on. So That's sort of what I'm thinking. So, you know, whatever the consequence is, like let's say if it's at work or if it's a commitment that you've done or something and you feel like you're running out of time and it seems to be a repetitive thing, then the question is not so much how do you not feel stressed? Because that won't help, right? If you're feeling stressed, you're just gonna be stressed. But what you can do is potentially take a step back, look at it from the perspective of how did you get yourself into that position? So, you know, if it's something at work, like how does this always end up happening? Like what am I not, you know, putting out there? What am I not notifying? Like what am I not saying to a manager if that's the case? Or if it's a commitment to someone, am I overcommitting? Am I telling people I can do too much for them and then not being able to commit on it? So again, I think one of the my main tip of the day here is just, you know, if it's something repetitive, I know you can't always help like the random stresses that happen in everyday life, you know, you can't help your emotions, but for the things that are repetitive, the question becomes, you know, what could you potentially do to help yourself out, to make it, Christian has just commented, so stress is a way that you react because things aren't going as you ideally want them to. So true. Most often is because you feel overwhelmed. Best way to deal with it is to structure your problem, break it apart, and address it in smaller steps that are not as overwhelming. I love that. That's such a good point, Christian. I love that because it's true. When you look at it full picture, it doesn't feel like you can solve it. When you break it down into smaller bits, again, it makes it more manageable. So I love that. Mikey just pointed out, you're on point, brother. People spend 80% on the problem and 20% on the solution. So true. Should be the other way around. Boom. That is so Pareto principle. Exactly. I love that, Mikey, because it's true. If you were to think, okay, this keeps happening to me, I'm so stressed out, you know, why is it that I always find myself in the same situation day after day, week after week, month after month? Eventually you get to a point where you just try to find the solutions. So I love that, Mikey. Such a good point. And then Stefan mentioned have it day in, day out, seeing patients, and it helps me to prioritize, helps me arrange, organize my say. Yeah. So I think, you know, the better you can understand how you work and what's causing you to feel a certain way, the better you can react when those things happen. So I think, again, it's about looking at the cause, not so much the consequence. In my eyes, the consequence is already too late. So it's more looking at what could I do? Who could I speak to? What could I put out there in my commitment such that I would prevent myself finding myself in that same situation. So I think that's really the key, guys. I think it's being preemptive. It's looking at the risk before it happens, and like I'm saying, it's on these repetitive things. It's not so much on the random stresses that happen in your life, because there's nothing, you know, no one can really control that. That's kind of like, you know, your mindset work and everything. Maybe you can get a bit better, but ultimately, you know, it's one of those things whereby, you know, if it is a repetitive stress, you might want to look into that, right? Just for your own sake, for your own, you know, for your own health, just to feel better, to live a better life, to be happier. It's worth analyzing, trying to find a better way to deal with it. But yeah, that was my tip of the day. I hope it was helpful, guys. Awesome comments today, Christian, Mikey, Stefan, really liked them. Great to have everyone on. I guess what's left is to wish you all an amazing weekend. Guys, if you want to have a free session or hear about my 3-month program, definitely get in touch and we'll set something up. But yeah, it was great. It was great having you all on. It was great talking about this. Christian just posted, having a positive attitude also helps cope with stress. Yeah, happy people are generally less stressed because they don't focus on the negative, but rather, oh my gosh, I could not agree more. This could be another live stream in itself, Christian. I love that comment. So true. And you know, yeah, it's just so true, because at the end of the day, if you decide to focus more on the positive, then the negative will take less space. So exactly what you're saying, Christian. I think, like, and it's actually an exercise. I know this might sound weird to some of you watching, but it's actually a habit you can put in place. So, you know, most people, when they see the bus leaving, you know, they're like, oh no, like shit, the bus left, like screw this sucks. But you know, actually there's different ways to see that. You know, you might have more time to read something, to read an article, to send a message to one of your friends, anything. But yeah, like I say, it could be a live stream in itself. But yeah, I love that point, Christian. Awesome. So guys, great being with you guys on live stream. Thanks for commenting tonight. It's great that you guys were able to see me. I found some light to shine on. But yeah, have an amazing weekend. Bus left me this morning. I love that. You should have ran, Christian. Guys, have an awesome weekend, and I'll be back on next week. So have a great weekend. Bye-bye.